Hello again, everyone. For this video, I have a somewhat specific question, but is one that came up for me and a couple other teachers, so I thought it was worth going over our solution. And I should preface this with this is just like brute force how we figured out how to find what we were looking for. There may be a more elegant solution to this, and if you happen to know one, then by all means give me an email at the address I'll put in the description or comment on this video if it's possible. I'm actually still kind of figuring this whole thing out. So, in any case, what we were trying to figure out is we had created Google Classrooms for this remote learning situation, and we had started creating assignments, including surveys to see how our kids were doing and if they had all the resources that they needed, and also some quick quizzes to kind of figure out what Google Classroom was capable of and making sure our kids were familiar, probably a lot more familiar than we are, and comfortable with how to answer different types of questions. So in any case, I'll show you a little bit more about what we're talking about here. I go to Classroom. I have my classes here, and I had created for each of these classes a practice quiz um, to see. Like I basically created one of each different type of question just to see what I was capable of doing as a teacher and make sure that my kids were okay answering all of those different types of questions and weren't running into any issues. For instance, you can create a question on a quiz that includes uploading a file. I want to make sure they all were comfortable doing that. And there's some pretty useful, but also a little bit weird at first checkbox grids and multiple choice questions and things like that. So anyway, we were looking at when you go into the class and you're creating classwork and you create either a quiz assignment or a survey, you get something like this. And you can title it, you can put a description, but then you're going to create the actual quiz by clicking on this Google form and then writing down all of your questions and what type of question you want. In any case, when we were finished with this and we had published it, kids were starting to complete them. We were having a hard time finding the results because we were going to classwork, and for our classrooms, if you go to Google Classes and you click on this, you can see your assignments either here or by going to the classwork tab. You can start seeing that they have completed these quizzes, but we were having a hard time finding the results. And so there's two ways that you can do this. You can come to this classwork thing and you can click on this guy right here and it'll take you to the actual form file. But what you actually want is going to be on Google Drive. And again, there might be a quicker way to do this, but this is the way that I had found. When you go to Drive, you should have a folder. If you didn't have one already, when you started making Google Classrooms, it would have created a folder called Classroom. And when you click on that, you should have a new file for each of those classes that you created. So here's that anatomy class that I was just working on, the B2 Anatomy and Physiology. And inside this folder, we see the actual Google form file for that quiz. And when I click on this one, I can now see the questions. I can go in and review the quiz itself, or I can see the responses. And this was a step in the right direction. It gives me all of the responses, however, as sort of like survey data. So if you are just doing a survey like, hey, do all my kids have food? Are all my kids safe and warm? Do all my kids have internet access? Questions like that, this might be useful just to see all of the response all at once. But if you're doing like a graded quiz, what you're going to want to do is click on responses and then click here where it says individual. And then what you can see are the individual responses to this. And you can tell who had submitted it with the email address right here. And then you can kind of toggle through all of your different submissions and the addresses that they came from, and you can look them over. And then the reason I'm saying that there might be a better way to do this is because, as far as I know, you'll then have to go back to your classwork page. You go to your classwork, go to your practice quiz, and then start assigning grades. So if you go view assignment, then you have to go in and assign the grades that way. So there may be a quicker way to do this, but if you are just trying to find the actual results of a Google Forms quiz that you created through Classroom, then this is how you can find it. Again, you go to the actual folder that Classroom created for your class, find the actual file for that form, and then when you bring it up, you're going to click on, it'll default to questions, click on responses, and then go to individual, and then you can see all of your individual kids. All right, so again, I hope that helps, and if you have a quicker solution or an easier solution, be sure to contact me by email or comment on the video if you can. And also, if you have other tech tips that you're picking up as we all sort of work through this adventure, let me know, and I'll try and I can either upload videos that you have made, or I can just make a video about the tip that you share if you just want to tell me what it is, and we'll try to build a little bit of a frequently asked questions database here for folks, try to maybe help lessen the pain of being dragged into the new technology. All right, have a great day, and goodbye.